Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Yvonne Moore. I am one of the members of the Technology Enhanced Learning team at the University of Bath. We work in a Centre for Learning and Teaching, and my colleague Eliana Cortes is with me today to talk about our escape room that we've created with one of our lovely colleagues at the university. The plan for today is just to talk through the project, its drivers, some of the technical challenges, and then the results and the next steps that we're hoping to take. Our presentation is available in the Padlet, so if you want to come back to this and look at it in a little bit more detail later, please feel free to do that. Last year, around about this time, when the escape room conference was on, we shared some of the feedback from that with our colleagues at the university. And Professor Richard Joyner got in touch with us. He's in the Department of Psychology, and he wanted to kind of look at creating a digital escape room. His drivers, his aims for this was to replace an in-person visit to an escape room that he was doing with students. These are postgraduate students who were coming from all different disciplines into his course, and he wanted something to be a kind of a team builder, let everybody get to know each other, have a collaboration together. And he was doing this with in-person escape rooms. It was very costly for him, and also the logistics of managing that was getting more and more difficult. So he wanted to look at something that was digital, something that he could reuse, and also specifically he was interested in having something that was psychology based. He wanted them to have a conversation around something that was psychology themed, so that they could then go on to talk about later in the course. From our point of view, from the centre team, what we would like to do is wanted to work with him to create this object, but with the idea that we could then do something with it afterwards. So we were looking at, because is this possible to create a template from an escape room game that we could then reuse with other disciplines? And that was kind of our focus in supporting him in creating this escape room game. My colleague Eliana is going to talk a little bit about what that involved and kind of the technical issues that we had, and then we'll come back and have a look at some of the feedback. We've managed to run this game once, so we're at the very end of the process, and we've got lots still to do. But Eliana will take us through kind of the next steps. There you go.
Thank you, Yvonne. Well, I was trying to request here. Control. Well, talking about the background of this escape room, Professor Richard Joyner wanted to use Rosenham experiment as a theme for the escape room. So in this study, some pseudo patients faked 2 symptoms, so they will be admitted, diagnosed and admitted into mental hospitals across the United States. Once they were admitted, they stopped pretending and they acted normally. However, the staff continued to keep them into the hospital under the same diagnosis. That is why this study is called on being sane in safe places. Another requirement that we received from Professor Richard Joyner is that he wanted to use St. Elizabeth's Mental Asylum as the virtual environment where the students will play the escape room. So this hospital was where it was admitted initially, Rosenham, as a pseudo patient. We had some reference that, thanks to this conference, we had in mind that was the zombie escape room. So we follow a couple of ideas from this escape room to try to build our own ideas of this of what we wanted for the St. Elizabeth Mental Asylum. And we also had experience previously building a couple of escape rooms in Xerte. So how we approached the requirements of this escape room? Well, we basically designed a 3-stage methodology. The first stage was the conceptualization of the idea of the escape room. The main challenge here was to build up a storyline that was credible, but also that embed all this idea of the case study. So we started to build some kind of roles, and the story of trying those roles where students try to rescue those pseudo patients. And but also the roles were aligned with the educational objectives that had embedded the game. The critical part of that, of course, was building the multimedia that was looking realistic but immersive at the same time. I will deepen into that into the next slide. After that, we started to build a mock-up, and then we jumped into prototyping into Xerte. The main challenge here, of course, was to finding the right way to navigate the structure, how we were creating the room, them jumping from one room to another one. The difficulty, it needed to be not too easy, but also it needed to be not too difficult, so the students got disencouraged in the process. Of course, we did a lot of play testing. For that, we used our team that played the game and gave us feedback in where to improve, what was the fun part, what problem we maybe to improve about instructions. And after that, when we had already the escape room, we launched that. For that, we were invited to a classroom with the students, and Professor Richard joined it, and we observed how the students were playing with the game. They basically play into pairs, into their own devices, and each of them was assuming a role, and they were interacting and trying to, at the end, trying to escape all the wards with the real patients. That was the key challenge about this escape room. As I was mentioning before, the technical challenges was rebuilding St. Elizabeth's Hospital because it's a derelict building. So what we did was to collect information, black and white images from the National Archives, and trying to use the layouts, the original layouts, to try to think, okay, how we navigate, how we immerse into this building. We used a series of images, trying to use Copilot to fit that images and trying to create some kind of nice modern color images to add to the escape room. Also trying to learn how was the architectural style of the building, for then moving towards, okay, with this series of images from the same room, can Copilot help us to build a 360 image that we can embed into a slide into Xerte? And yes, in that way, we were creating a space by space, room by room, that we wanted the students to jump and try to collect the clues and solve puzzles in order to then try to guess who were the real patients and who were the ones that they needed to rescue, or the pseudo patients. Xerte was fundamental in this part because we used a lot of slides that help us to build from dialogues between the students and the patients, trying to guess, okay, well, I'm going to ask to this patient in order to know if he's is one of the one that I need to rescue or one of the fakes, but also all the 360 images added all the immersive reality that we wanted to add to the game. So what did we learn from here? Well, we learned a lot. Based on the previous experience from the previous escape rooms, the design process was completely different. This one was a brainstorming and collaboration with Yvonne, with Professor Richard Joyner, but also with the people that was giving us feedback to try to, in the first part, trying to create an engaging narrative where the people was feeling that, yes, they are playing, but also they are getting into a mission and it's challenging, and also there is some kind of immersed team collaboration part of this. The use of iTools was fundamental, was the key for developing this escape room into the time that we had, the scale time that we had, because trying to recreate all this aesthetic, all this immersive but also realistic image was thanks to the Copilot and the use of sound or video that we created the narration through iTools. Also, one thing that we wanted for this escape room was to document the process. As Yvonne mentioned, we aimed to create a template that can be used for other academics in the future. From the student experience, it was probably the first time and the first type of escape room that we create for the university, and having the opportunity to observe the students interacting with the game will allow us to, of course, see how they were coping with the game, how challenging was the activity, but also if the roles and the language was appropriate for them and the narrative. And at the end, I can say that the most exciting part was seeing them escaping from the escape room. So Yvonne, over to you. Thank you. Oh, Yvonne, you're mute.
That was bound to happen. So what was the feedback from this? So generally, the feedback was very positive. Both the students and the academic was very pleased with the activity. The students, there were only a few this time, and we're hoping to kind of reuse it and get some more feedback. But they basically had fun and they engaged really well with it. The academic was really pleased about the interaction between the students while they were working on it. It was his goal to try and have this as a kind of team bonding exercise where there was collaboration and they could be talking about a psychology theme. So all of those themes were met. One of the interesting things is that he's now thinking about how we could use this further and introduce more about Rosenhan's study as kind of conversational starters, using that game as the kind of the beginning process of that. So that was really interesting. And as Eliana says, the students had fun at the time, including Eliana's 9-year-old who got involved during the delivery. Future work, we've obviously got to think about this template. The feasibility of it is kind of going to be very difficult. We know this, but we're going to try and see if it's possible to do this, and we are going to do a case study with the university to disseminate. That will be public, so anybody will be able to see that. And finally, because I know my 10 minutes is up, I think, I'm going to just say that we have put a link into our escape room. It actually goes to the Xerte website, where you can see a range of escape rooms, but ours is on there, Escape to the Asylum, and you can have a go. If you scroll down to the bottom, you can view the project and play the game. If you'd like to do that and give us some feedback, you can contact us at tell@bath. It's a shared email box. We'd love to hear from you, positive, negative, any kind of tips for how we might do things differently. We'd be happy to hear. And so yeah, so happy to take any questions.
So I'm Nicky Morgan. I currently work at the University of Manchester Metropolitan. I have recently moved there from Salford. So I was at Salford, and a lot of this that I'm going to talk about is actually from Salford. So I'm going to talk about how we use digital escape rooms as a revision tool in Salford and in MMU now as well. So I think everyone knows probably what an escape room is now. We've done this for the last 2 days. But a bit of an overview, digital escape rooms, we use computerized puzzle games, and this is something that we utilize a lot within our digital escape rooms as well. And it's really useful for us because we have quite a large cohort of students. So in MMU, we'll have about 350 in our biomed program, and then in Salford, they have around about 150 to 200 students. So finding the time and the space just to be able to do any of these sort of fun activities, it's too much. So doing something like this, where they've got these digital escape rooms, has proved really useful for us to be able to deliver this to quite a lot of people at once. We found that students seem to benefit from it in general as a way of communicating with each other, communicating with us as well. It also helps them with their taught knowledge. So they'll probably have these escape rooms usually after they've had some sort of class. So if it's a lab class, they'll go on and do this escape room. And we've also done it within like revision sessions. So they'll go off and have their tutorials, come back and do this revision session as a tool that they have. And it's really good for them to have this recap of knowledge. And they've also found that they have these gaps in their knowledge that they can go back to and revise. So the way we've done it is we have our escape room on a platform. So I've created this platform on WordPress called Yoescape, which we thought was kind of a fun little nod to the University of Salford as well, but university is general. And we've got our own little logo. So this QR code will take you to our website and you can play around with any of the escape rooms on there. We've currently got 8 escape rooms from what I remember. I've got a couple more that are in the making, so I don't think I've put them on yet. And the escape rooms are collaborative. So we initially started with one escape room, which was around microbiology, because that is my background. And it was me and another colleague, Matt Jones, and both of us together have created a lot of these puzzles. And then we've moved on to collaborate with business schools. We've collaborated with the general population of the university. So the ones you can see there are called hidden rooms. And this is about the hidden curriculum and talking about just the language that we speak in university that isn't really used anywhere else. Things like trimesters and tutorials, and getting students to understand what that means as well. And this platform is open to anyone and everyone. They can use my screen's gone black for some reason. Oh, okay. They can use these escape rooms in anything they want to do. It's open for everyone, and this is what we wanted it to be. We wanted it to be accessible to everyone and freely available for everyone as well. So I've just put some of the puzzles that we use in the escape rooms. Crosswords is one we use quite often, but as someone said yesterday, not everyone knows what a crossword is. So a lot of the time we have to explain what crosswords are before we can actually go ahead and use these puzzles. Drag and drop puzzles, picture puzzles, even typing puzzles as well. It's a really useful way of students to do different puzzles with different challenges in, and they tend to like that mix. So what we did is we went to our collaborators depending on who wanted an escape room. So a lot of the time people will send us an email and they'll ask us if we can collaborate with them to create a digital escape room. And our escape rooms are usually a 360 image that you can drag around, you can click on different puzzles, and you can then do these puzzles as you go along. We do have a time limit of around about 30 minutes, as we found that's probably about right for our students. A bit longer, they tend to get bored, a bit shorter, they get frustrated, it's just too short for them. So we've done all these different puzzles based on the content that they learn. So we'll, as I said, collaborate either with students or with academics, and we'll try and create these different puzzles for the students to actually have a go at, and then hopefully they'll escape the room themselves. We then analyse, or we give the students these surveys afterwards, and it's based on a 5-point Likert scale and also open answer questions so that they can write whatever they want to give us more feedback on these. And this is the results we found so far with all of the escape rooms we've currently done. So we've got quite a lot of positive results and feedback from our students. Over 75% of them said that they had a positive experience with their digital escape rooms. Over 78% of students said they actually enjoyed this gamified version of learning. Over 77% of our respondents said that it enhanced their degree. Over 75% of students said that they found it a valuable tool for their education. And over 77% of students said that it enhanced their knowledge as well. So these were really positive results. And this is what we wanted to see, is whether or not it was actually enhancing their knowledge and whether they found the whole experience a positive experience. In terms of development, over 76% of students thought it was well developed. Over 61% of students said that they found it easy to navigate. This is actually slightly skewed because when we first started, we had it in about 5 or 6 different sort of sections and rooms that students said they really struggled to try and move from one place to another without a loading screen constantly happening. So we've now got most of our puzzles within one room just to make it easier for navigation. Over 70% of the respondents said they found it visually appealing, which is great. 76% of students said it would help with their upcoming assessments, and over 75% of them said that they would recommend this to their peers and colleagues. So again, really positive feedback for these revision tools, these actual escape games that we've created. And we also wanted to have a look at whether or not this had an effect on equitability and whether or not our escape rooms are actually equitable. So we stratified our data against socioeconomic factors. So thinking about vocational, non-vocational, minoritized, non-minoritized. And across all of the escape rooms we've done so far, there's been no significant difference between different students, which is fantastic because it means that the escape rooms are equitable from what we can see. We did see, when I went into slightly minute detail, that those students in the lower tundra, there was a slightly significant increase when it came to upcoming assessments and whether or not the actual escape rooms would help them with upcoming assessments compared to higher tundra students, which was quite interesting to see. So this is just some of the feedback that we've actually got. So this is just written on all the surveys. We have quite a lot of positive feedback, but we also have negative feedback. You know, I'm not going to lie. Some students do not like escape rooms. They don't like this version of learning. I did one recently for the revision session for one of the classes I've got. And as you can see in the bottom corner, the same content provided as simple questions would work much better. This was an attempt to entertain nursery kids. So you don't always win, because some others said that they learned a lot, and while it felt like they weren't learning anything, they really liked this interactive way of learning instead of boring lectures, a good revision tool to keep it interesting. So we've got a lot of good feedback as well. So just to conclude everything, so the digital escape rooms we found were really effective with both Salford students and MMU students, and it was an inclusive tool for revision for them. It's really easy to be scalable as well. So this can scale across, as I said, we've got quite large numbers of students, and our business room, escape room, there's quite a good few hundred students that come through that cohort every year. And it's really easy then for them to do that wherever they are. Again, it's quite equitable and engaging across students of all backgrounds from what we could see. And it's been used across different courses and different universities, showing that we've got quite a lot of collaborative efforts. And just some acknowledgement. So Dr. Matthew Jones really helped with all of this. Me and him are the co-leaders of all of our escape rooms. Mariam and Sammy as well have really helped with a couple of the escape rooms that are on there. LTech, the learning and teaching for the University of Salford, initially funded this scheme back in 2023. So it's really good that we've managed to keep this going for the last 3 years. The widening participation for summer schools, they actually brought Marion on board, so that really helped us. And we've got 2 publications there as well if you want to read them. But also come and talk to us whenever you get a chance, because we're really happy to do some more collaborating with people.